There's this catch-22 I encountered back when I first raised my seed round. We raised $1 million. Back then, that was a sizable seed round. In today's dollars, it's probably about a $3 to $4 million seed round, same spending power. And there's this catch-22 that I encountered where we had a bunch of money in the bank. We wanted to go out and recruit some great marketing people, but you literally, it wasn't enough money to recruit great marketing strategy people. I could spend that money to hire an agency, but a lot of those agencies were started by ex-pizza boys that never really done this before. Or I could hire a number of junior marketing people, great people, but all of these people that were available within that budget of $1 million, or even today at $3 million, were more execution people. They weren't the marketing strategy people. And what I learned the hard way was you needed both. You actually had to find a way to define the strategy so that you can hand it over to these execution folks so they can go run those ads, create those blog posts, put out that content. That execution stuff would actually work. Without the strategy, it would be unfounded and you would spend a bunch of dollars, do a bunch of things, but nothing would actually click. And even today, when I talk to founders who are seed backed, they complain about the same thing. They're like, look, we did a bunch of this stuff, but it's just not resonating. It's like, yeah, you hired a number of execution people and it's not your fault. That's literally all you can afford given a seed round. The really talented strategy people are the VPs of marketing, VPs of demand gen, the CMOs of much larger companies, and there's just not a lot of them. And so what happens? Ultimately, you are sitting in a room as the founder trying to define the marketing strategy. I've been there, and this is why I created my go-to-market program. In today's episode, I want to walk you through the 3 critical components that you absolutely need to understand as a founder when it comes to your marketing strategy. And you need to get good at understanding why these 3 components are important and why they're critical to whatever dollars you spend, whether it's with an agency, a junior marketing team, or just doing it yourself. No matter what you do, you need to actually get these 3 principles down for your strategy in order to drive growth for your SaaS business. Intro. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Unstoppable. I'm TK, and on this channel, I help SaaS founders like you grow your SaaS businesses faster with an unstoppable strategy. Now, if you are new to this channel, welcome. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and that bell icon. That way you'll get notified every single time I drop an episode with actionable strategies on how to grow your SaaS business faster with the TK energy. That subscribe button and that bell icon, go make sure you hit that. If you're already part of this channel, if you're part of my SaaS coaching programs, my people, welcome back. It's so awesome to see you over here. Now, I'm gonna warn you guys, if you are an avid viewer of this channel, this week I'm actually loaded up on steroids thanks to my doctor. She prescribed me some steroids for this thing that I'm dealing with, and so my energy might be a little bit different. Hopefully it'll be just fine and we'll roll with it. So with that said, I'm gonna walk you through the 3 marketing principles that you absolutely need to understand, internalize, and start to really get your head around as a founder, a seed stage founder, to be effective in sales and marketing and go-to-market for your SaaS business. And this is regardless of whether you've already hired a marketing team, an agency. Ultimately, this piece of marketing strategy falls on the founder or a really high caliber VP of marketing, which oftentimes the catch-22 is you can't afford even with a $3 to $6 million seed round because there aren't enough of them. So this is what I'm gonna be digging into today, and I'm gonna really break it down for you. It really breaks down into your actual segmentation, it breaks down into your targeting, and it breaks down into positioning. But I'm gonna break it down into 3 principles and take you step by step like I always do. So if you're excited to dig in, go ahead and smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Let's first talk about segmentation. So the first piece of marketing strategy that you really need to nail, and this is something that you can't outsource to the agency, you can't leave to the junior marketing team, is what segment of the market you're gonna be going after. Now, when it comes to B2B SaaS, that's what we really specialize in over here. There's some very well-defined markets that you could be going after. And in the early stages, the more specific you are, the the more successful you're going to be, and then you can earn the right to expand from there. So you could go after just solo users. You could also go after prosumers. You can go after small, medium-sized businesses. You can go after mid-market businesses. And then you can go all the way up to enterprise. And there's also room for a little enterprise business over here. These are the different segments that you can be going after. And each of these segments, depending on who these people are, where they live, and what problem you're solving, and what their role is, and how much money they can spend, how much disposable income they have, how much budget they have, how successful they are, they're gonna be able to buy from you in different ways. And it's super important for your specific problem that you're solving and the product that you're building, you start to figure out which segment of the market is most ripe for disruption. Now, when you're thinking about segmentation, the other thing that you also want to see is, generally speaking, there's this rule over here where if you go like this, the more you go into the enterprise segment, the more you go deeper into these larger and larger businesses, the more money you're going to need as your cost of acquiring a customer. And at the same time, the more money you can actually charge these customers. Now, intuitively, it makes a ton of sense, but we tend to not think about this all the time. Let me explain. If you're in the enterprise, chances are the enterprise is going to want to do a really big deal with you. Otherwise, they're not going to give you the time of day, not at the enterprise level. Maybe you'll get one person in a large enterprise, which is really a solo user. But if there's truly an enterprise purchase, then they're gonna say, look, this is a big transformation. This is a big problem. So we're gonna buy, we might do a 3-year deal. We'll pay you a lot of money. But in order to get here, you'll also have to send in your salespeople to meet with them. You'll have to go through a security review. You'll have to go through a SOC review. You name it, there's MSAs. You'll have to get lawyers involved. The higher you go, the more money you can make, but the more money it costs. The lower you go, the less money you can make, but at the same time, it doesn't cost a lot. You can have a completely product-led growth model, a self-service model, a bottoms-up model, and this solo person can just sign up for the product and pay, and you wouldn't have to put any salespeople, no legal reviews or any of that. And they're not gonna ask you for your security footprint, they're just gonna use the product. You can actually get customers at a very low clip. So this is a strategic decision, because the way you talk to the enterprise is going to be wildly different than the way you talk to the solo person. Similarly, you could actually try to sell into the mid-market thinking that, you know what, the mid-market is kind of like in the middle here, so it should be easier than the enterprise. But you'll be shocked to find that the amount of stuff that the mid-market company is asking you for is oftentimes not that different than what the enterprise company is asking you for. They'll have just as high, lofty expectations in terms of security footprint and legal reviews and MSAs. And so you'll start to realize that there are trade-offs on what segment of the market you can go into. And that's super, super important. So really, the first thing you want to think about the first principle here is really digging into what segment of the market do we really want to be serving? Now, as you're deciding on this, a couple of things is, well, how well capitalized are we? What can our cost of sale be? Do we have enough funding in place to go after these big deals and to really fund that kind of 12-month sales cycle? Or do we need to go earlier? The other thing is your competitive dynamics. Like, who else is already playing in these different places? And are we going to be able to compete or not? And when you start to think about these things, you realize this is not the job of your marketing team, it's the job of the founder to really start to hone in on what are the market dynamics and where can we best compete. And that's really what you're looking to do first with segmentation. Where's the heat in the market, the most opportunity for you to really serve the group of people that are underserved based on what your product can do. Once you've done that, the second piece is targeting. So this is segmentation. That's number one. The second is targeting. Now, it's one thing to say, all right, we want to sell to prosumers. These are people that are, creators. They have a YouTube channel. We want to target them. We want to charge, say, $30 a month, and we want to help them make more money. Great. Now, it's one thing to just say that. It's another thing to make a list of 1,000 people that fit that exact criteria. That's targeting. It's one thing to say, we're going to go after the enterprise, and we're going to sell at the highest level, and we're going to do top down, and we're going to have a strategic narrative to really show them how this is going to work and the big transformation we're going to bring. That's one thing. It's another thing to say, here are the 100 companies we're going to run an account-based marketing plan into. That's targeting. And a lot of times, because the segmentation work doesn't get done, the targeting work never gets done. So you don't really create that list. And so we call this in my go-to-market program, we call this the Dream 100. What is literally the list of the 100 customers that you're going to go after, depending on the segment that you're actually choosing? And how do we really hone in on that? So being able to say, you know what, we really want to focus on mid-market companies. And we want to actually do a bottoms-up sale in this mid-market companies. And so we want to figure out how to keep our costs to the lower end. And so let's go in and make a list of the companies, a Dream 100 list, that would be willing to try out software, be an early adopter, and give us a shot, not have as crazy expectations as the enterprise, be friendlies. Let's make a list of those companies. That's targeting. That's making it very concrete on here's who we really, really want. Now, there's a third principle here, but let me pause here for a second. Are you starting to see the power in this? Are you starting to see the power in the difference between execution and strategy? And why so many seed stage companies fall into a trap where they say, and I hear this all the time before they join the program, like, we bot outreach, we've sent out 1,000 emails, I got one response back. Or we spent $10,000 a month in ads and it just didn't work, right? Like, it's because you skip over these core principles. These are core marketing principles that a lot of junior folks don't know how to do effectively. It's not their fault. They've always had that VP on top of them that did it for them. And if the VP wasn't there, there was an actual owner that really thought through the strategic pieces. And without that, you're just firing a bunch of blanks. But when you actually think about these strategic pieces and define them, then the execution becomes tethered to that strategy. If you're starting to see the power in this, can I just get a yes in the comments below? Also smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It really likes it when you do that. Also, if you're a founder, a seed stage founder, and you're looking to grow faster and you need your marketing strategy defined and you don't want to do it alone, this is exactly why I created my SaaS go-to-market coaching program. I'll tell you more about it at the end of this episode. I'm going to tell you about principle number 3, but I'll also link to it below if you want to go learn more about it. Okay, so once you have the segmentation and you have the targeting, then you get into where the rubber hits the road. This is positioning. And so often, people skip over the positioning and just jump right to execution. What is positioning? Positioning is what you actually say to this Dream 100. If you were to sit across from them, how do you position yourself against everything else that's going on in their world? Now, positioning typically breaks down into a few things. The most important thing that it breaks down into is your value proposition. If you're starting to sell more into this higher end of the market, it also breaks into your strategic narrative. What is the big change you're bringing to the world? It can't just be about software. It has to be some external change. These two things defines your positioning. And in the absence of spending time to think about, well, what are our competitive dynamics? What are the big macro trends in the market? What's going on in their world? How do we craft our messaging and our value prop and our narrative so that when we say it, they're like, oh my God, these guys get me. If you don't do that part, every ad that you're running, every outbound email that you're sending, every content that you're writing, the homepage copy, none of that will actually line up because it'll be untethered from an actual marketing strategy. And that's why this third principle of positioning builds on top of the segmentation, the targeting, and actually brings it right home. Now, there's a certain power in this. The reason it goes in this order and it's so powerful is that it forces you to really narrow down. You're narrowing down to a specific group of people and then creating the messaging speaking directly to them. And that forces you to be specific. And because you're specific, it'll resonate more versus trying to hedge your bets across 5 different constituents. And then it kind of doesn't hit anywhere. So let me recap over here. If you're a seed stage founder, before you spend money on your marketing team or an agency that was started by an ex-pizza boy to run a bunch of execution plays, you got to get into a room and figure out, what is my core marketing strategy? The 3 big things that you really have to flesh out is, what's my segmentation? What market segment do I want to go into? What is my specific targeting? And what is going to be my positioning? What's my true value prop and my strategic narrative? You got to flesh these pieces out, at least as an opening bid, and then tether yourself to that and start executing. And as you collect the data, then you can iterate on this to make it better and better and better and figure out where there is the right product market fit. When you do it this way, you will save hours of time on just sending out thousands of emails or running ads. You will save dollars. You will save wasted effort. And most importantly, you will preserve your runway. And that's the power of this process. Now, if you're in this stage where you're like, hey, how do I actually build out my marketing strategy? How do I build out my go-to-market strategy so we can actually scale faster? And how do we avoid common pitfalls? And how do I get the strategy right so that the folks that I am hiring can actually execute effectively? This is exactly why over 75 founders have joined my SaaS go-to-market coaching program. It's an incredible program. It is literally the best thing I've ever done in my career. And we've seen so much success out of the companies in there. And I invite you to apply to join if you're in this stage. Inside of the program, we actually help you flesh out your ideal customer. We help you flesh out your messaging, your positioning, your narrative, and then we help you execute. Step by step, nothing is skipped, and you get my full coaching. It's an incredible program. So if you're interested in making sure that you do this the right way and to reduce execution risk, then go to tkcater.com/GTM. tkcater.com/GTM. Over there, you'll get all the details around the program, and then you'll have a little application link in the bottom to apply to join. Once you fill out the questions, we get on a call. My team members are specifically trained to help understand where you are in your SaaS business and figure out if I can actually help you through my SaaS go-to-market program. If we can help you, we'll tell you all about the program, and then you can make a decision on whether you'd like to be part of it. And if you would, then awesome, we're off to the races, and you and I start working together right away. That's the power of the program. So go to tkcater.com/GTM. If you got value from this video, be sure to smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It really likes it when you do that. I also drop a video like this 2 to 3 times a week with actionable strategies on how to grow your SaaS business, coming from the trenches of actually building a company. So be sure to hit the subscribe button and that bell icon where you'll get notified every single time I drop an episode. And lastly, remember, everyone needs a strategy for their life and their business, but when you are with us, yours is gonna be unstoppable. I'm TK, and I'll see you in the next episode.